All right, everybody, let's get ready to go. We have Super Metroid Item Randomizer League 2023. Getting ready for some major minor action. Don't worry about the layout, it's going to be taken care of. We've got some really good people on it. We have an exciting show for you tonight. We have I Only Know How to Super Jump featuring Glove in all her splendor and Beef Robber, hopefully meme it up tonight. And then we have Spring Ballin with Mester and Beep to the Boot. This is going to be a really exciting show tonight, and I'm very excited to introduce my co-com. I am Kev Nastix, and my co-com for tonight will be Professor School. Prof, how are you doing tonight?
Yo, Kev, what's going on? Hello to everyone out there. I am Professor School. Very excited to join you today for this excellent matchup of multi-world Super Metroid action. This is a vanilla map, major minor split, and we've got some really incredible runners here. So looking forward to the show.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. We have a major minor split here, so that basically means that all the minor items, which are all your ammo items, your missiles, super missiles, and power bombs, those items will be randomized within the seed with each other, and then the major items will be randomized with other major items, and those are your suit upgrades, your beam upgrades, energy tanks, reserve tanks, your unique items such as X-ray beam and grapple beam. X-ray scope and grapple beam. So those will be in their own pool of items. So it should be a pretty exciting watch. These tend to go a little bit faster than full randos do. But then we have the multi-world component. And Prof, would you like to explain how multi-world works to folks out there who may be uninitiated?
Yeah, I mean, this is really cool, Kev, right? Because you're using essentially a remote server for both runners to connect to. Now, they're each going to be running their own individual seed, but all of their 200 items are randomized across both of those seeds. And so essentially, for example, on the left side of your screen here, Glove, she's going to be picking up items that could be hers or beef robbers, and vice versa, right? So you might have both your Varia and your teammates' Varia in your seed, and you're going to get that randomization across those 200 items. It's a really, really cool way to do cooperative Super Metroid Randomizer. And here you go. We got our first items. Glove picking up her Morph Ball, and Beefy has, looks like X-Ray in the ceiling.
Oh no. So hopefully Beefy will go back and get that X-ray, and maybe hoping that it belongs to him, but that X-ray could also belong to Glove. And just going to hint right there that their team name is I Only Know How to Super Jump. So if we find a reserve tank already along with this X-ray beam, we could see some really interesting shenanigans, and that is Beefy's X-ray scope. So really interesting start to the show already, and
that feels so appropriate, Kev. That Beefy, with all of his skill, doing the crazy R and all of these crazy modes that are X-ray enabled, has X-ray as that first other major item. So here we go. We have. Go ahead, please.
I was going to say, we want to mention that in a lot of randomizers, runners will selectively choose to skip like more out of the way checks or longer checks for items. We're less likely to see major items skipped when you do a multi-world, because you're not just skipping items that could potentially be yours, you're also skipping items that could potentially belong to your teammate. And if you don't have a vital item such as a suit or some kind of an upgrade that might be necessary for completing the seed, you could totally screw your opponent. So I think that in multi-worlds, our runners will tend to be a little bit more interesting in full clearing some areas that in traditional major minors that runners might risk skipping.
And here we go. Glove going meme route early, going through Retro Bryn with that early PB pack. Can sometimes be, a risky decision if you don't have supers yet, but especially with multi-world, you're much, much more likely to get supers between the 4 checks that you have and those that your partner has. Nice plasma pickup there. That's going to Beefy.
I think you do bring up a good point. It is you are less likely to get stuck on some kind of a hunt for a minor ammo item. A lot of those seeds you're talking about might be on a hunt for supers or a hunt for power bombs, where not likely to ever have to worry about that in a multi. Although I have had some multi-world seeds where supers or power bombs might be found late, but usually you're going to be just going around and just trying to find items, and there's no telling where they're going to be. So I think the logic is much more difficult to follow where it's actually sending you when you do a multi-world. So our teammates are allowed to talk with each other and say, hey, where do you think I should go based on this? Or I want you to go check over here. We do have an early screw attack on Beef Robber's side, so that might lead Beefy to go up and check Gauntlet right here. And I think that would be a very wise check this early on. Even though we cannot find suits in criteria, could find something really cool like bombs or ice beam or something like that, or speed boost.
Actually, are we 100% sure about that? I thought in multi-world suits could be in criteria.
You know what? I think you might be right, Prof. I think you might be right. And D-Web is actually saying that can be found, and we do have a suit find.
Yeah, so I just gotta take a second to point that's a huge win for me. Just a couple months ago, I had never run a single randomizer seed, so the fact that I was able to get one of these facts right is a pretty good sign of things to come, hopefully.
I did tell you your job in the booth was largely going to be correcting my mistakes, so I was not wrong about that.
Totally fine, totally fine. Well, let's see. Beefy did manage to fill up that reserve, so it's not the most dangerous situation with Screw Attack and Plasma, but you do definitely want to be careful without any suits and just the one tank.
Now, I don't know how you feel about it, Prof. I actually, when I get a seed like this, like a vanilla map, I do not like to find Gravity Suit first because I feel like it opens up way too many locations. Oh no, Beefy, get out of there.
Get out. Come on.
Woo,
Okay, good.
baby.
Nicely done. Beefy had a couple options there. Fortunately, with Screw Attack, able to get free. Could have used a super also in that situation and managed to pick up Grapple for Glove. So that's going to be very useful, especially if Glove needs to do any sort of suitless Meridia or farming in Lower Norfair. A lot of utility there for that item so early.
Now, I'm going to say this just this once. Last night when I was calming a match, I called Suitless Meridia 11 minutes into the match, and we did get Suitless Meridia. I don't know if lightning can strike twice, but I am already happy to see Grapple Beam, which is, by the way, arguably the best beam in the game. I love Grapple Beam.
All right, we got to get Messer through this acid here. Just a little bit too far right on that power bomb, needing one more to get through. And one thing that you saw there is as these players are exchanging items. Oh, and look at that, an early gravity suit for Messer. As these players are exchanging items, you'll see that the fanfare can come up on your screen when your teammate has collected your item. And so actually part of the coordination here is, you're doing something like Gauntlet, or you're doing early X-Ray, or maybe, bootless Lava Dive. You want to communicate with your teammate, make sure they know what you're doing, because the last thing you want is to be in the middle of some sort of very precise trick, and you've got a fanfare interrupting that movement. That can be, it can be deadly in some cases.
Now, it is worth pointing out that the fanfare, even though like the item window will pop up and tell you exactly who the item is for, there is no audible fanfare, so they do go much quicker. So anybody that is kind of, plays a lot of hundo and is sick of hearing that fanfare, you do not have to hear that in a multi-world, which is kind of sad for me. I like the fanfare, but I do think it kind of streamlines the play because you pick up so many items. It would definitely take way too long if we had to sit through a 6.66 second fanfare every time an item was picked up, and it could get you itching for some of those more precarious situations you could find yourself in if your partner doesn't tell you, hey, I'm about to pick up an item, and it could be yours.
Yeah, and I think it adds some additional strategy as well, because in a lot of major minor splits, especially when you are starting to get better beams or you have charge, you might start skipping missiles at a certain point. Just the time that it takes to pick them up, even if you're running right into them, it probably isn't worth it in a lot of cases. With this shortened fanfare, it's less than a second. It's in a lot of cases, it's going to be much more worth continuing to pick up even things like missiles for much longer because you're not investing as much time to pick them up.
Yeah, I'm wondering now. So unfortunately, Glove Screen is frozen right now. Hopefully her internet will come back. And there we have it. Now, did somebody say that there was a gravity suit found? Was it at BT? So hopefully Glove will find her gravity suit, because right now there is a suit lead on Spring Ball inside right now. So that could be very interesting if Glove just hightails it to, could head over right toward Wreck Ship and Red Tower, could skip maybe BT altogether. This will be kind of interesting if Glove decides to go right.
Yeah, they all have grav.
Oh, they do? I'm sorry. I didn't see it marked on the tracker. Thank you, Idle. And now I do see it marked on the tracker. So Glove looks like she's definitely going to go make a play. I think that's a really good call. For no other reason, though, like you have Gravity Suit. Wreck Ship is extremely safe with Gravity Suit. Glove also has Grapple Beam, so it'll be, could also have Gravity jumped over there, but really easy access in a Wreck Ship. And if you take a look at Logic and you find that, like, oh, Grapple Beam, Gravity Suit, Wreck Ship is a pretty good play at this point. Worth mentioning that we have vanilla bosses. So Glove will find Fantoon at the Wreck Ship, and the Wreck Ship will be turned on. Yeah, somebody's
Executed gate glitch there for Beefy.
Yeah, that's nice. D-Web calling that no E-tanks for player 2 is very interesting. So the way it kind of works out, I found in all the multi-world seeds that I've played, is usually one teammate gets all the swaggy items and the other teammate gets like a pretty lean loadout of everything. So it always feels like there's one seed that's a little bit harder to play early on in the game. Usually evens out toward the mid to late game, but generally you always find some kind of a hunt for something that one teammate desperately needs in order to finish the game.
Yeah, hopefully we get reconnected here with Glove stream just a minute. And there we go. Right on cue. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good strategy here, especially from the team to our left of Glove and Beefy. If I can add route divergence in these multi-worlds when possible and explore different parts of the map, I think that's always helpful.
Now, because items are just different in each other's game, do you think route divergence within the team really does make that much of a difference? Or, I mean, do you just kind of, when you play with your teammate, just go by the logic of the items that you're given by your teammate and what you find yourself?
No, you're absolutely right. That's on me. I was confusing co-op and multi-troid.
Yeah, it can be tough if you play both. I find multi-world just it tends to get a little convoluted with the logic because it just oh, I went here and I found this for my teammate, but who knows where the seed actually wants to send you. So I don't know. I play randos kind of like, this is what I have, this is what I can do with this stuff, so I'm gonna go here. Really healthy ammo for everybody right now. That's kind of nice to see when charge beam could be lacking or not found at all in these seeds.
Okay, well, I'm going to assume that Fantoon was in there and Glove took care of took care of the Space Ghost. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to see the fight, but it happened pretty quickly on the reconnect. So I have no doubt that that Glove went ahead and she executed just a beautiful 2-round Fantoon fight.
She got a beautiful 2-round in the last match that I saw her in, so I absolutely am betting that happened. And with the amount of time that Glove had to have spent there, it had to have been a really, really swift Fantoon fight. So GG Glove. My gosh, with all this action to watch, Beefy going to Wreck Ship too, so we're not going to see Kraid for just a little bit. Looks like Beep is likely to get there first. We got an X-ray check there, just an E-tank. Not what you're hoping to find when you go so far out of the way for an X-ray check. Beep still short E-tank there.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this particular situation, having gravity and going up to ship, especially if you decide to full clear it, will make a lot more sense when you have this few E-tanks. I mean, obviously Varia could be anywhere and we're not really sure, but the last thing you want to do is try to run really, really slow hell runs on very, very few tanks, or even get to Upper Norfair and have to turn around and not be able to even reasonably do, something like ice.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad idea. If you want to take a look at like a swift route, if you have Gravity Suit, to just go and clear as much Wreck Ship as you can, and then just go like straight to Meridia right afterwards. And basically after you do that, maybe you found Varia for somebody, and then you can just hightail it down to Norfair. Kind of like do reverse of what, like if I find Varia Suit, I always want to try to clear Upper and Lower Norfair before I ever have to go up. So Yeah, there's absolutely no reduction in heat damage from gravity suit, and I don't think that gravity has any impact on environmental damage either. I think that's only Varia has environmental impact, whereas gravity does reduce damage from enemies.
A little bit of lag reduction there on the Kraid by Beep. Ooh, a little unfortunate there.
Oh, we got
Almost
some
cleaned it
lags.
up nicely. That's okay. A little bit of taking Kraid to prom. Meanwhile, his teammate Messer now deciding with that gravity suit to go into Meridia. I think this is definitely a nice play, defensible play here. Go and check this major down at Mama Turtle.
I didn't
Certainly.
happen to see. What did Beep just pick up at Varia suit? Looked like it was something for Messer.
Boy, howdy, I'm not sure, Kev. There's a lot going on right now. And there's speed. Very, very nice find, especially earlier on here.
You really want to see that with gravity suit because that gives you your Batoon access, and that's definitely good. Although Beep looking like I don't know, Beep has low E tanks. I think it would be smart for Beep right now. Has one more major location to check down here. Might want to head up into Meridia with that speed booster. That's kind of calling, for the Batoon location.
Yeah, I think that's going to make a lot more sense. I mean, you could try to go down for a high jump play here. That's a free check. It is out of the way, especially if you don't have the ability to check anything else. You could also make an ice play work with 2+1, and hope that those two majors are going to give you something. But no, Beep deciding, I think probably the safer play here is just to go through and use that gravity to get.
I would honestly I would check high jump boots first if that were me. If you don't find Varia suit or any significant amount of E tanks or anything, I mean, you still have a major down there. It could be something useful for your teammate. But honestly, with Space Jump right now, this was really good for Beep to go down at Red Tower and not kind of head into Wreck Ship. The only thing is going into Wreck Ship really took Brinstar away from both Beefy and Beefy went through Brinstar right, and Glove just went straight to the right. But anyways, Space Jump this early on is going to give a really good movement advantage to Beep to the Boop.
Yeah, Space Jump and gravity and speed, so should be able to make a ton of checks here very quickly in these gravity required areas.
Yeah, and who knows how long it's going to be before Glove and Beefy end up finding. Well, it would have to be Beef Robber would have to go down to Kraid to find that item, and I wouldn't be surprised if Beef Robber full clears Wreck Ship.
Okay, so I think we're getting one of these visual glitches here when you use X-ray to check an item. Yeah, that's an E-tank there. All right, and Beef Robber going to be going over and making this wrecked ship E-check here, while Glove is making her way down into the top of Red Tower for this Alpha PB's check. Maybe?
I tell you, now's a really good time right now to let everybody know to follow our trackers, Aussie and Jestro Zooks. They have to keep an eye on who's picked up what and when, because I've kind of have an idea of what's picked up already, but if I'm not looking at those boxes there, I have no idea who has what. Oh my gosh, we're getting a really early, seems like a really early Shack Tool check here. Fortunately, we have high jump for Messer, which makes this a significant, I don't even know if you could check this with this loadout. Well, you could do a gravity jump, I don't know. But anyways, Messer's going to go and get a Shack Tool check. So let's see if Shack is holding anything expensive.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a pretty big play if it pays off, right? Obviously.
With the amount of time you put into it, this is the kind of this kind of run you want to pay off. So let's see, we found that speed booster. Did we happen to see, let's see what Beefy finds at speed back here. I'm with you, Zeb. I didn't like that E-Tank no grab either myself. I like to at least get up to 7 E-Tanks in these runs. Ooh, screw attack right there. So Beef Robber is highly likely not getting that screw attack for Glove.
Yeah, and not just getting up to 7 for yourself, but you have a teammate who's on 2+1 right now.
Oh yeah, even better, exactly.
Yeah, and you want to be able to, if you can, get that number up and potentially make a bunch of upper Norfair checks.
Just an E-Tank. So Shack Tool not holding anything extra, so kind of a long check for no real reward for Messer right there. But I mean, that knowledge can matter. Sometimes you get an item like Grapple Beam and it just sends you like, okay, I have Grapple. This is in logic. I should probably check it. I don't want to orphan that.
Yeah, and one additional bit of intrigue that's added here with multi-world is that you can actually, if you have that Aqueduct save, for example, and you find, let's say, your teammate's Varia or some other really good item that you're going to keep in Shack Tool, you can actually just go ahead and reset. They're going to keep that item with the way that multi-world works, and you can reset back to that save if it's not your item.
That is definitely a cool time-saving feature. Definitely something worth knowing to help you complete seeds a little bit faster. Yeah,
especially for such a long check like that. I think those save scums, Gauntlet, I think that's a very typical place where you can do that if you save at ship, for example. So definitely, additional time saves that our runners can look to use. Just gives you a sense of how much you really need to know to really get proficient at Randomizer. There's so many different categories over the course of these 7 weeks and playoffs. They all have their own logic associated with it. That's not even to begin to mention area randomizer. So there's just really, really a lot. I can speak from experience from an individual who's run vanilla for 3 years and now is getting into randomizer. It's really quite an incredible task that our runners are displaying by getting proficient at all these different modes.
Great is 2 for 2 stand-ups over here. Craig being a very, very tricky opponent today. It was also, speaking of things to know, Beep did have to reset out of Batoon, did not have enough ammo to face Batoon before, or ended up going back to refill. If you're used to playing the vanilla game, you always have Charge Beam at this point. So, and we have Speed Booster for Messer. So Meridia, West and East Meridia holding both speed boosters right there. So definitely giving a movement edge right now to Team Spring Ballin. And movement-wise, I think Glove and Beef Robber can pull it together and kind of bridge that gap right there. But we'll have to see. Glove is taking down Crane. I would expect Glove is going to check high jump boots and then possibly go do hell runs. Glove has a lot of E, so I wouldn't be surprised if Glove decides to do hell runs, but Meridia, from what we've seen already, looks like a more attractive option. Beef Robber, on the other hand, we'll have to see what Beef Robber decides to do. It is tempting to go right to Meridia with that gravity suit, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, both runners on the right side with a sufficient amount of energy, especially given high jump and speed, or space jump and speed, to be able to go into upper Norfair here if they wanted. But I don't know. I think I'd be tempted to just go right into Meridia. It's a slower routing for sure. I don't know. You could try to make the decision with 5+1 or 5+2 to gamble into upper Norfair, but I think Meridia is probably the play.
It could be, but I still like to play it checking high jump boots first, and you have enough energy to do the ice hell run, so maybe even do ice hell run and then go check high jump boots, because you got 2 majors right there that could give you what you need to get through upper Norfair and send you down to lower Norfair. But I don't know. I'm agreeing with Zeb though for Glove. I do like going through upper Norfair without that Batoon access for Glove. That does make a lot of sense. Ooh, and really, I think Glove got this too. Nice ice escape from Glove. Good job.
Dragon should be just about dead here. Nicely
Good
done
solid
there.
Fight.
Crade 3 for 4. Pretty incredible.
Oh, I'm sorry to laugh, but Crade the mighty today. Crate is going back into the enemy boss break room afterwards and bragging. I got Samus 3 times today.
Yeah, probably just happy to stretch their legs, honestly. Just a reserve.
I like watching Glove's movement. She's got really crisp ledge grabs, really just excellent handle on the game. Very, very experienced RBO runner, North Korea percent runner. These hell runs should be no problem with Glove. She has a couple E-tanks left. Gravity Suit's going to reduce a lot of this damage, going to get out of there absolutely no problem. We'll need a couple power bombs for Crystal Flash ammo. But I think, and Chad agrees, really, really nice decision going to Upper Norfair here. And once she refills, she'll have enough energy to do all of these checks. And hopefully this will bring something very nice to the table for their team.
Yeah, nicely executed there for Glove. Should have plenty of energy to get through here to this farm spot. No trouble whatsoever. Sometimes can feel a little bit awkward with just high jump there, but well executed. Now we'll spend a bunch of time refilling up. We're going to get our first look at Plasma here from Beep.
I'm a little surprised. Did Beef Robber check high jump boots? I didn't happen to notice. I tuned away for a minute. Where did that ice beam come from? Sorry, I have my daughter here also who's watching with me. She likes to say Beefy's name over and over again. It's slightly distracting, but still fun. Okay,
nice,
player one's
nice free refill from Beefy. Still looking for a little bit more ammo, especially Beep here. Still pretty low overall on ammo with no charge on the board.
Yeah, Beef Robber's sitting there with 15 missiles. Beef only has 10 missiles. So that is kind of low ammo, but look at all those beams we're seeing down there with Beef Robber and Beep right there. Pretty solid loadout of beams. A lot of good firepower. Forgotten Highway is kind of an interesting play. That's kind of a long walk to get to wreck ship there. Was Beep coming from Plasma? That might be faster than going Red Tower if your sights are set on wreck ship. Yeah, I think coming from Plasma, it's faster to go this way. I would agree.
All right, so we're going to get our first look at some of these Upper Norfair Hell Run items, some of the back of Upper Norfair here. Check what's at this wave location.
Well, we already know that Beep is not going to find Varia Suit and wreck ship. Otherwise, Glove and Beef Robber would have found it already. So I'm wondering if Croc is holding Varia Suit.
Yeah, it could very well be.
I think at this point, well, I mean, we haven't seen Beef Robber go through Upper Norfair yet.
Well, there's Beefy's high jump from Glove, and Glove now has ammo, doesn't need to worry about charge at 5560.
Glove taking some hits there from those Elcoons. Makes it out with no problem, though. A lot of E-tanks. And now Glove is going to make her way, I would imagine, take this save and then go to the Upper Norfair reserve location. Got three items you can check there, 1 major and 2 minors.
Yeah, nice ice clip there, and now into the Batoon fight. We'll see what Batoon's holding back here for Beefy.
So it looks like Messer is making the play also to wreck ship. So pretty much we're not going to see anything different than we've already seen from Glove and Beef Robber. And I think that just the way they've routed things, this puts Glove and Beefrop are very much ahead, having already done wreck ship. By the time they, Beefy clears Meridia, he can just go straight down to Norfair. Meanwhile, Glove still hasn't done Brinstar, but nothing there that is really necessary. So I'm expecting a croc check here.
Glove did meme route, so she would have checked Brinstar already, yeah?
Oh, okay, so she did meme route up to wreck ship, okay.
I believe that's correct.
Both Varia suits can be in one person's world, yes.
Yeah, but she's going down to check Croc now, and I think given the the layout of the item distribution so far, I think that this is probably a pretty good play. Although with pretty good items so far, maybe another power bomb pack and some E-tanks, Glove could be getting close to considering suitless Norfair.
That is true, but with Beefrobber not getting, we know that Glove's screw attack is in Beefrobber's wreck ship, so not having screw attack would make that lower Norfair play a little less attractive. There is a lot of ammo for Crystal Flash, but I would say without that screw attack and without backdoor access to lower Norfair, it is unlikely, but who knows?
Yeah, you'd want something else. Screw attack would be great. Plasma to be able to hitbox through some of the pirates would be nice. Or the key hunters, rather. Let's see, I expect Glove to go all the way through and check grapple as well. Yep.
Imagine if Glove finds grapple here for Beefrobber and Beefrobber has to check Shack Tool for Glove's Varia suit. Yeah, I'm not putting it past Glove's ability to make it through lower Norfair. I'm just saying that this is a very sketchy lower Norfair without screw attack. I gotta say, Spring Ball is really going through this seed really fast there. We got 3 bosses down already for Beep to the Boop.
All right, let's see what the location holds. Just an E-tank. But I don't know. You're getting really close, and if you had the ability to do a second Crystal Flash with one pack, I think you'd be in pretty good shape here if you're Glove, even without screw attack.
Beefrobber's got grapple beam. I'm calling Varia at Shack Tool in Beefrobber's game, but I don't know whose Varia it's going to be. Yeah, Glove can still go to Meridia and kill Dragon. Because she didn't have Shack Tool access before. Glove does know how to Crystal Flash with bombs, no problem. So if Glove did want to go to Meridia and take care of that, it's well within her ability to do so.
Yeah, and I will say, Zeb just beat me to it, but with the gravity and speed, Waterway certainly has the potential to hold things here.
Wouldn't it be more exciting if Beefrobber has to go check Shack Tool for somebody's Varia suit? I'm just that kind of guy. I like those exciting seeds that make people salty.
Yeah. Oh, Glove going for that really elegant short charge there at the top of Croc Escape. Not quite getting it, but having a bunch of items to back it up, either grapple, high jumper, or speed. But I commend her for trying, because that's honestly a pretty cool short charge to get.
This is really tough
to get it first try. It's going to save some time.
This is tough to call. I would say that, especially since Glove has already full cleared Upper Norfair, I would give the edge to Superjump, Team Superjump right now, for sure. But is how close this race is? I don't think we're going to know until we find out where at least one of those Varia suits are.
Yes. We have these boxes.
Yep, and there's Beefy's speed.
So where do you go right now? If you're Beef Robber, I would imagine Beef Robber would go and clear Upper Norfair now. Or
Yeah,
do you think
got
Beefy
to, I
will?
think.
You think Beefy will check Shack Tool? Nope. That's a no.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got all the Upper Norfair checks, including Croc, if you're Beefy.
Maybe he's going to Waterway.
And you've got Waterway. That's right.
Yeah, but Shack Tool is so close. Imagine having to go all the way back to Shack Tool after going all the way to Waterway.
Yeah, I mean, so close but so long, right? I mean, I think
I don't know. Going back to
honestly,
Waterway is pretty far. Oh, he's not even doing that.
you've got every movement item. You don't have a Varia, but if you're on that voice call with Glove and you're saying, keep picking me up stuff, if you get me some more E-tanks here, you've got every other movement item. You just need tanks and maybe and one power bomb pack to be able to get through a suitless LN.
Prof. We're gonna see a crystal flash clip. Let's go. I'm telling you. Well, oh no, Glove's gonna check some sand pits. Oh, Glove has speed. Dang it. Stop reminding me of that stuff. Maybe she'll forget. I was getting excited for a minute. Y'all ruined it. Dang it.
A little bit too much Tylenol, Kev. Switch to the soft stuff, man.
Bear with me, everybody. I'm in pain. I have a torn bicep, and my workers' comp denied my pain meds, so I'm doing my best over here.
I had ear infection.
Yes, and my daughter has an ear infection. You're supposed to be in bed, honey. Mm-hmm. So this is one of those really interesting positions that you can get to, crowd control. Give me crowd control, and I'll just start taking items away. Can you stop doing that, please?
Well, and there you go. Varia at high jump. For player
Didn't I
2.
just say that one of the runners should have gone down and checked high jump boot before they went to Meridia?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's one of those plays where if you go down there and you make that play and on 2+1 you check ice and you have to spend all this time refilling and you get nothing but a tank or something not as useful, you think that you shouldn't have invested that time, but there you go. Varia high jump.
Just imagine though, Glove's Varia suit at Beef Robber's Shack Tool. Or Waterway, of course, but still. So this could get interesting. Glove might actually be faced with no choice but to do suitless Lower Norfair.
Yeah, I mean, and she just got her own plasma. I mean, I think another power bomb pack would still be nice, but you can start hitboxing things now. So I don't know. I mean, Glove has got tons of experience with these sorts of categories, and I think that it's a perfectly reasonable play at this point. But I'd say with Varia, Beefy's a little bit ahead of Glove right now, so he can afford to take the extra time to make all of these checks and try to find additional items for Glove. I think that's probably the right way to go here. We'll probably see Beefy do all of these checks here.
Space Jump is at Waterway in Beef Robber's seat. We just saw Beep to the Boop pick that up, so that means that Glove's Varia and Messer's Varia is very likely at Shack Tool.
I may have picked up that power bomb pack, especially if we're considering Glove maybe going suitless.
Well, I don't know that she knows she's going suitless yet because she doesn't know what's behind Dragon at this point.
No, I agree, but I just think, Beefy with Varia here and one boss to go is ahead. And I think you want to make all of your checks for your partner. Certainly not a criticism on my part. I think just what I might have done in that situation.
Yes, plus chat, I'm trying to keep the race exciting. Settle down over there. You can find your partner's Varia in Lower Norfair? Actually, that's pretty lit. I did not know that. I should know that. But I don't have to run in any of these races anymore since I can't play right now, so. Georgia, I'm trying to do commentary here. You're talking in my ear. It's making it a little difficult.
Little troll spazer pickup.
Mm. See? You're on TV.
Every time I'd play a multi-world and I would have plasma beam and I would play with my my old teammate Sir Cabby, he would make sure he would pick up spazer beam just to insult me. Still, I kind of want to see a suitless something, so it would be really cool to see Glove just beeline it to Lower Norfair right now and that Varia suit never be seen, just to keep things a little bit more exciting.
What What's order? Having sunglasses.
Do you have a favorite part about playing multi-world, Prof?
It's probably the part where Zeb finishes before me.
Well, to be fair, Zeb usually finishes before everybody, so that's not too much of a surprise.
Yeah, then he can just completely focus on giving me direction.
Forgot it.
Another E-tank there.
Ocean.
Nothing else at screw. Do want to farm up some supers here. This is a very, very convenient place to do. Of course, Beefy also has grapple, so shouldn't be much of an issue. And here's the save from Glove. We're going down into Lower Norfair. Yeah, and we'll see. I do expect Beefy to check Fire Fleas here for his teammate. Yeah, that's a good point, Seb. Just kidding. Yeah, and here's that check. It is just his own E-tank. Keep checking, though. Those free refills can be particularly useful to aid Glove through this Lower Norfair hell run. Yo, Nevdy, what's up?
We're just doing our best to summon you, Nevdy. We felt that if you started getting roasted, that you would appear.
All right, some short charge action here. Top left of your screen. Glove going for that. Shine Spark. It's looking good. Let's see the timing on this. Heckin' beautiful. Unbelievable. GG Glove. Nicely done. And on to the Lower Norfair elevator. After a save. Always fun to get your heart racing on a suitless LN. I don't care what your loadout is. I don't care how experienced you are. There is always excitement in suitless Lower Norfair. I know from my own personal experience, it always makes my heart race. You know, you think you can get those free refills from either your own checks or your partner's checks. You know, it's not super dangerous, but there's always that element of potential problems that can arise. So far, Glove handling it nicely.
Yeah, Glove is one of the best RBO runners in the world and has a really, really high missile and super missile count, which speaks really good for a suitless Lower Norfair. Powerbomb count is decent, but with that powerbomb count, only has 2 crystal flashes in her back pocket. So still needs to be pretty careful, but will get a free refill from right outside of Golden Teresa over here. So yeah, going to GT right here I think is really smart for this refill, and also you get this item check as well.
Yep, should have plenty of time to pick up this item. Well, and there's Beefy's charge.
Which is really good because Beefy's ammo is not looking really good for beat the game ammo at the end of the game here. It's not terrible, but that missile.
I'm having a hard time seeing it. What is it, 2565? Is that right?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Definitely not good beat the game ammo. So you have to actually. I'm looking at this right now and wondering, if Messer is going to be able to go and do the same thing. So
I think so. I mean, Messer has fewer tanks, but has just as many power bombs and has screw attacks. So I would say it's pretty even at this point in terms of capacity to get through lower Norfair Hell runs. It's just an issue of runner execution with the slightly different loadouts. And that's the final boss for player 2, Beef Robber there. And again, being ahead here, I expect Beefy to continue to make as many checks as possible because it's last runner to finish.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's going to streamline things pretty quickly for Superjump at this moment right now. And with their routing, making really good decisions, starting from top and going down, really, really paying off for Team Superjump right now. Very, very clutch.
Yeah, I got to admit, it does kind of suck to have the the tension of that suitless hell run taken out of it. But Glove, she's not going to let us down. Just continuing to execute at a high level, Varia or not, she's just crushing this lower Norfair right now. Really, just beautiful movement all throughout. Yeah, this is going to be really, really tough to come back from. Still far enough away at this point, but strong advantage here to the left side.
Yeah, and I would say that the way they chose to clear the game based on the items they had was a very good way to go about it. And meme route really paid off for Glove. Both of them doing wreck ship to Meridia, really, really paying dividends. So very excellently played. And not that Messer and Beep aren't doing a really good job. I think they're playing really, really well. And the routing choice was not bad. It's just, randos are how randos are. And I think Glove and Beefy just had a much more solid route for the way the seed played out. I imagine we're going to see a spectacular 30 super fight here from Glove on Ridley.
Yeah, I do expect Beefy to continue to make checks here, still ahead of his teammate. There is an outstanding waterway check as far as I know. Yeah, this is interesting. I wonder, Glove just wants to go at this point. I wonder whether or not I would have checked behind Ridley. It's a pretty quick check, and if it is ice, it is going to save quite a bit of time. But there's still a bunch of outstanding checks. It could just be an E-tank or something like Spazer. So, well, no, it wouldn't be Spazer, I guess.
I think it kind of just depends on confidence. Like, I would say that Glove is probably really confident in her ability to do speed Zeb skip. Without having charge beam, we'll need to be a little cognizant of her ammo for beating Mother Brain, but 60-65 is
that's super
out
comfy
for doing that.
I guess I just meant from Metroid rooms specifically. I mean, Glove has demonstrated a great mastery of and just being on point today with the short charges, but I think that the Metroid rooms just go so much faster when you don't have to power bomb. But I can understand, their desire as a team for Glove to just get up and on and out and not make these two checks. I mean, they're relatively quick checks. They're, 15 seconds each between the door transitions, maybe even faster without the vanilla fanfares. But I can understand why you're feeling the need to just go, especially given where Varia was, right? I mean, you can imagine that sort of the ideal routing would have been for player 2 to go down and check high jump immediately and take that risk. And if you do that, right? I mean, if you've got to be thinking that as Beefy and Glove, if Beep had gone down and checked high jump immediately and they had that Varia, that would have really, really opened up the seed considerably and made up a huge time gap in favor of Spring Ballin.
That is true, but I would also agree with what Zeb and Nevdi are saying in chat that when our runners, so the way it works is both runners have to finish, and you count, the time when both teammates are done. So because Beef Robber is so far ahead of Glove, there's really no reason that he couldn't have done just a few extra checks on his way to Turian. Because him finishing so far ahead of Glove is really not going to make a very big difference. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's a very important distinction because in some of the later weeks, I think, what is it, week 4 and 7, where we actually have co-op action and the players will be running the same seed. That's average time of the team finishing the seed, but for the multi-world, it's whoever the final runner is to finish. So really, there's no need to get to the end of the game faster if you're the player ahead. And so I completely agree that, making the extra checks would be nice, especially if it's something like ice for your teammate in this situation. You could end up saving your team a pretty considerable amount of time, but it probably really won't end up mattering all that much at all.
Yeah, it's not. Ooh, nice Metroid Room 3, by the way, from Beef Robber. That was sick. But really solid play throughout from both Beef Robber and Glove. And, we finally have Beep to the Boop is down in Lower Norfair, so we'll hopefully get to Ridley pretty soon to help get that Varia suit for Messer so they can make their way a little further through the seed. Both of them, I think, are playing pretty well. Just a little bit outmatched on routing and a little outmatched on movement. It's going to be a really solid multi-world time, too. So both Beef Robber and Glove, I think we could be looking at sub-hour here.
Couple extra jumps there from Beefy, just making it through, no problem. Yeah, a little unfortunate here. Messer with a pretty decent loadout for Suitless LN, but I can understand not wanting to necessarily commit to that, and you don't know, unfortunately, exactly where your Varia is, and it turns out it's going to be all the way behind Ridley here, and it's just going to put them just a little bit too far behind. I think chat pointed out earlier that Glove and Beefy did a nice job preparing for Suitless LN quite a bit ahead of time, and I think going up early, especially for Glove, and collecting all that extra stuff made that play much better and didn't need to wait for Beefy to find that Varia, and that's really going to pay dividends for them here in this seed.
That's true, and I don't know what the comfort level is for a runner like Messer doing Suitless Lower Norfair. I'm just not as familiar with Messer's playing style like Glove. I know Glove is a very seasoned RBO runner, so definitely a play we knew she could handle. And not every runner has the same comfort level for that. Is Beefy going to try to get
Brainbuster
here? Here we go. Oh, come on.
Yeah, so this is obviously why Beefy couldn't make any additional checks, because we got to have some fun with at the end of this seed.
Knows that he has some time here because their time's not going to be until Glove finishes. But
there it is.
Let's go.
Oh my goodness.
All right, that's clip worthy right
there. All right,
we do that.
Brain is busted. GG Beefy, well executed. Folks, go ahead and give Beefy a follow. He does some really incredible stuff with X-Ray, and just really has the capacity to do some really far out stuff here in Super Metroid. Excellently executed from Glove throughout the seed, and now just a nice little showcase of some of the special tricks that you can do with Super Metroid X-Ray combo.
I'm a little sad we didn't get a super jump. I'm not gonna lie, but Brainbuster kind of will tide us over until next time. I still have to laugh that the very first item that Beef Robber, after Morph got was X-Ray. I mean, how appropriate.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, jeez. Beef doing a pretty good job handling this Ridley fight here. And we know that looks like Messer is actually going to make a play for Lower Norfair right now. realizes that there's no other option, completely unaware that Beep is just about to bail him out with the Varia suit.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to think that Varia is close. There's not really that many more locations to check.
Really healthy CF ammo too. Although with all that time that Messer spent farming up, is probably going to be maybe either disappointed or relieved once he finally gets this Varia suit.
Yeah, I mean, I think the disappointment is probably knowing that you could have gone down and picked up Varia so early at high jump, right? I mean, I've got to think that that's what both teams are thinking right now. Is if the other team went ahead and did that, there's really no coming back from that. As it turns out, neither team found that early Varia, but Glove and Beefy just a little bit better prepared and with more willingness to go through that lower Norfair run to start, and that and the execution to put them ahead. And they're gonna wrap this up probably almost before Messer even gets out of lower Norfair.
And there's that speed Zep skip I was talking about that Glove would have absolutely no problem doing. Glove showing absolutely brilliant gameplay throughout today.
Yeah, well, executing very nicely. All right, Beefy's got like 2 minutes to keep working on this. Nope, okay, I was going to say maybe just keep grinding away at that blue bomber, but decided to bail.
So a lot of ammo to spare on Mother Brain shouldn't be a problem for Glove.
Yeah, no problem whatsoever. There was 53 supers and a whole boatload of missiles, so plenty of leeway here for Glove. Nice dodge strats on those onion rings. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, Glove has, great experience running both Fantune and Crade First any percent. 100% GT Classic, recently PB'd in low ice, is an excellent RBO runner. I mean, when you put all that together, it really makes for, a very good randomizer runner, at least the blueprint for one. And of course, Glove has also proven herself in competition play on multiple occasions. And it showed today. So GG to Beef Robber finishing with 56.02, but of course it's the team's time that will be attached to the second finishing runner on that team. So we're going to be waiting on Glove's finish here for the two runners to be actually officially done.
So, and at this point, Messer and Beep do know that Beef Robber has finished the run. They can see, because you will see as the runners finish in the race time room when they're done. Beef Robber had a finish time of 56.05. So when we see Glove finish, that'll be the team's official time, as Professor School had mentioned. And we'll see if Beep and Messer decide to continue their playthrough of the seed. All but one boss left to go for Spring Ballin.
Yeah, and unfortunately, if you're Messer and Beep here, seeing Beefy finish, you pretty much know that means that Glove has her Varia, and so even if she decided to delay to every last final check before going to LN, it's most likely that she's going to have an advantage here. Yeah, just a little over a minute away from the finish here, so we will have I Only Know How to Super Jump finishing up with a combined team time of under an hour. Really nice time here. And they'll be taking home the W in this Week 1 matchup.
Yeah, I think already with their movement and routing decisions, Team I Only Know How to Super Jump putting out a mighty big statement in the first week of play already that they're going to be quite the team to match up against. So, GL to anybody who has to face them in the next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Rest of this week.
if I were doing as sort of unofficial power rankings, Superjump would definitely be up there for me as a very, very strong, not only playoff contender, but I would say, threat to go deep into playoffs with the players that they have on there. Very, very strong caliber of runners.
Bring Ballin, Messer doing some spring ball strats there to finish out Ridley. That was kind of funny. I'm still kind of sad that the Varia suit was not at Shaq Tool. So, but still kind of neat that both teams had to do some form of Lower Norfair Hell Run before they got their Varia suit. And I just wonder how much faster Superjump could have finished had Beefy checked those high jump boots earlier and got that Varia suit, that much earlier.
And there we go. GG to Superjump, the winner of this race, clocking in at just under an hour. Excellently done by Beef Robber and Glove. GG's.
It's Green Gate. Yeah, but I don't have any missiles.
No, it sounds like we have unclean audio over here. I think we were hearing some of Beep's audio over there.
All right, let's see if we can queue up some of our runners. Live and on air, joining us now from the winning side, both Glove and Beef Robber from Team Superjump. GG's to both of you. Nicely executed.
Thank you.
Yeah, GG's. What a heck of a race y'all had right there.
Yeah, GG's. The X-ray was my second item. Was pretty cool.
Yeah, we
Everybody
noted that on
talked about
commentary. I mean, effectively you're first, right? I mean, you're always going to get morphs, so we thought it was very apropos, Beefy, for you to be picking up X-ray as your first other major there.
Yeah, X-ray carry.
Yeah, well, and we got to see a little bit of that fun brainbuster action at the back end of that seed. But so here's the one major question that I think sort of defined how this seed could have gone differently. First of all, congratulations to both of you on the win. I thought you did really well preparing for suitless Lower Norfair, and it ended up not needing to be a full run, sort of pulled the tension out when that second Varia suit was found. But that the first Varia turned out to be at high jump, and I think that could have really changed things considerably. So on the call, were you two talking about that early high jump check? Beefy was on really low health, I think 1+1 or 2+1. So maybe you're thinking not to go into Upper Norfair at that point. I'm just curious, how that decision went and how you're feeling once you found out that that's where the first Varia suit was.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
My thinking was just I didn't have that many E-tanks, and just getting space jump at Kraid would make it easy to get Mama Turtle, which was like the only item that I would be concerned about missing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was there any concern finding that Varia there? I mean, I think there'd have to be some concern that if the other team checks that early, they might have a pretty sizable advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty concerning until Beefy found that Varia at Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I thought that even like Varia was buried deeply enough that we were still probably doing okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to guess that you were pretty comfortable with that loadout, Glove. You didn't have screw attack, but you had a ton of tanks, and you had plasma for hitboxing and stuff. You were executing, by the way, so well coming through that first half of that Lower Norfair section. So really, really nicely done. But how were you feeling about that LN if, let's say, your Varia was actually at Shack or something like that?
I was kind of disappointed. I felt like I really overfarmed beforehand, honestly. Like, just playing a little bit too scared. But, yeah, I mean, like, obviously screw attack is nice, but especially when you have gravity and plasma, it is far from essential. Also, bombs. People don't realize how good bombs are for screwless LN.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree.
But yeah, I mean, it wasn't that hard. I had a billion kajillion tanks. I had like 60 supers.
Yep.
I was honestly pretty disappointed to see that Varia.
Yeah, well, I think we all sort of were. You were executing so nicely, and I mean, obviously, you always get a little bit nervous. You know, anything could happen in Lower Norfair suitless. But you were executing so nicely, and that Varia showed up, and it was like, it sort of pulled the tension out of the room. But look, y'all prepared well for that suitless LN, and between that, your routing decision and your execution, you managed to pull out the win. So congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, like the big thing there, I think, was just like. I'm not sold on the go up play. Like, here we did it defensively, knowing that like we're pretty decently favored in terms of sheer movement. Even then, I feel like going up red tower can leave you pretty vulnerable. But and here Rex Ship had absolutely nothing, if I recall correctly.
And
well,
you
it was.
It really didn't have much.
Yeah,
and I think that this seed is the perfect example of how that could set you up. You know, even with a strong movement advantage, could set you up for kind of heartbreak, right? Because had Spring Ballin gone down and found that first Varia, we might be in a really different situation here. But you set your route, you stuck to it, you executed well, and you were able to commit to that LN, more or less as soon as possible, I think, and it ended up working out for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd need to look back, but I think if you go down first, like if Beefy goes down first, he's actually in a bit of an awkward spot potentially, because I don't think he had decent ammo for a while. Or no, I think he had enough supers. It was just like we were like half an hour in, and he had like 15 missiles and 45 supers or something.
Yeah, I think it would depend on what else was in Upper Norfair. Honestly, it's a little bit hard to keep track of all 200 items across both seeds. It depends on what you would have been finding in Upper Norfair, having picked up that Varia.
But yeah, multi was fun. It's always fun to do competitive multi. Unfortunately, the one time we've done a multi-world tournament, I had some life stuff going on, which meant I had to miss it. So I always like getting to race it, because like not that I don't like the 6-person multi-worlds or whatever. That's cool, but I think 2v2 multi-world is really fun. So it was cool to do. Fun little team building exercise to start the season.
Yeah, excellent. Well, GG to both of you. We are looking forward to your team's second multi-world race and the races to come. Definitely, I think, one of the stronger teams in your division, and looking forward to seeing how you continue to gel as a team and what performances you put out there. So thanks for that. Thanks for that excellent performance today.
Yeah, thanks. I'll definitely be looking forward to seeing the next race as a spectator.
And thank you, Beef Robber, for Brainbuster. We're very, very happy that you gave that gift to us tonight.
Oh, yeah, I had to
that was
at least
dope.
get one X-Mode trick.
Yeah.
It does make up for no super jump, but I definitely understand with a race on the line and wanting to be timely, I could definitely understand no super jump in this race.
Yeah, I was scared with that Varia at high jump.
Yeah, that's right. Because you checked Fireflies early, which I think is almost always the correct play in multi.
Yeah, especially being ahead in that position, right? I mean, Beefy, you were pretty far ahead of Glove at that point, so I think you did the right thing to continue to make checks.
Yeah, only got my own E-tanks though.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got the Varia, right? And so that sort of took care of business. So.
Yeah, and then it was a kind of awkward situation at the end where, like, I guess Beefy could have checked ammo for me, but I don't think there was really, like, any majors Beefy could have gotten to make it, like, potentially easier.
Do you know where your ice was?
No.
Yeah, so we were wondering in the comms booth whether or not, like, you know, being that far ahead, if Beefy could have made like a waterway check, for example, and if, you know, picking up ice would have saved a ton of time for you in Metroid rooms, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not sure where your ice would have been, but your charge beam, Messer ended up getting your charge beam, which was all the way in Shack Tool, so you definitely weren't getting charge.
If you want to ice it, player 2 Grok. Oh yeah, that's right. Beefy didn't do Grok. But yeah, I mean, it didn't really matter at that point too much. Like, I wasn't too worried about it.
Yeah, and that speed Zeb skip was first try, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. Speed Zeb skip isn't that bad for me. Like, I think the hardest part of Speed Zeb skip is that door is really bad. But, short charge wise, I have visual cues for it. And if I have visual cues for something, then it's whatever. I wasn't too happy with my movement in a lot of places this seed. Escape was something else I really tried to throw sub-hour. You know, it's really important to get Blue Bomber, even if it loses you like 30 seconds.
I think the time you make up by getting it really just kind of makes it negligible.
Yeah, Zeb, that's what I was saying. The door transition is the hardest part about Speed Zeb skip. Maybe I wasn't clear.
Yeah, but your short charges were just absolutely on point today. I mean, you got Lava Spark, you got the spark
Oh yeah,
through the transition going into Key Hunter Stairs. I think your short charges were just off the charts good today, so I had no doubt that you were going to nail that Speed Zeb skip.
Yeah, that Lava Spark was pretty sick. That actually saves a ton of health in that situation. So I was thinking about, like, can I skip going to GT? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I definitely could have, but it would have put me, like, crystal flashing somewhere awkward, and I didn't want to. So, like,
no,
overall,
I think it's a safer play. I think
yeah.
that's the right decision.
I think the thing in a race like this, where, like, I'm advantaged in, like, we're advantaged in movement, but I'm doing, like, suitless LN when it's not in logic. I think I can be safer about the LN because I'm not losing on LN movement. Like,
I totally agree. And if something goes horribly wrong, you could lose the race on, you know, one bad room, essentially, right? Yeah, I completely agree with that decision.
Yeah, and it ended up being pretty convenient that Beefy's charge was there. So.
Yeah, and you ended up not even needing to use the refill room. I think Beefy picked you up an E-tank almost at exactly the same time to refill you.
But yeah, it was kind of a neat seed. It's kind of funny, like, how multis can go sometimes, where even though we did not quite full clear, because we were able to go mode on my suitless LN, that saved us enough time to where we could sub-hour, even though we did wreck ship first for, like, nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why I think, like, I don't know, I think go moding is just so powerful. Like, that sounds stupid to say, but, like, being able to, like, as soon as you could be in go mode, being able to say, like, okay, I'm go moding this, I think is often going to be correct.
I would happen to agree with you there. I think about last night's race and how much quickly it could have been finished if
You're still salty about that.
just a little bit, but, you know.
I was hoping to show you some suitless Meridia, and then both graphs showed up early on.
I couldn't believe how early the gravity suits came in this one. Like, I already was like, oh, we got grapple beam, that's one piece, and then nope, boom, gravity right away. But a little bit of suitless lower Norfair kind of helped soften the blow. So it was really just a really, really great race to watch. I had a lot of fun. Really glad that I'm really glad that we were able to get a restream and comms and trackers at such short notice. So definitely the kind of race that we like to showcase for everybody. So really, really special that it was all able to happen tonight. So I'm just glad I was here for it.
Awesome, yeah. Well, I think I am. Looks like they're about to finish up. I guess I'll wait around a little bit.
Can't quite see what's happening on Messer's stream. It is frozen at this point. Beep to the Boop is almost done. Looks like Beep is going for some Blue Bomber action here.
Well, they are spring balling. Oh, no, we're not going to get it. That's okay.
Yeah. You can't. Well, you probably can, but depending on how hard you short charge, it's a little embarrassing. I've done it before, where you short charge and you're like, "Yes, I got the Blue Bomber," and then you just don't reach up far enough.
I've totally done that. Yeah.
So we saw Brainbuster before, but it looks like Messer's mother brain is brain busted right now.
Oh.
Just frozen in time.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, Beep. Gotta love those failed sparks.
Yeah, well, you can never mess up just once at the bottom of climb.
Excuse me. So I am out of the race room. I don't know if, Prof, if you're still in the race room, or if you want to give us the official race time for Spring Ballin as soon as Beep finishes.
Sure. I can go ahead and try to take a look. I was not in there myself.
Okay,
No.
I can then.
Whoever gets there first.
So Messer finished in third place with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 16 seconds. And then Beep to the Boop finished fourth place overall, putting Spring Ballin as the second place team with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 8 seconds. GG.
Folks, you heard that quick shift from Glove. Not just an excellent SM player, but a veteran in the booth, closing us out there and getting that time call done excellently. I even heard you put on your comms voice there for a second.
I can't stop it. It's like some people have like a like when I was a server, I had a server voice. It's like it's unconscious. It's a switch.
Yep, I totally understand. I totally get it.
Hey, we love it.
Well, GG to Spring Ballin, finishing up there. It's a tough seed, not finding Varia early. There's a lot to consider, and you know that suitless LN, when it's staring you down in the face, it's never really that comfortable. So
Yeah.
But we'll take a moment here to thank a couple people. Obviously, the organizers for putting this on. Very happy to have League back. I know I'm excited to be participating in my first league. Have a race coming up later this weekend. Thanks to our trackers, Aussie and Jestro. Really cannot do this without our trackers, keeping everything straight, not only on the trackers there on your screen, but dropping some information in chat as well. So very thankful to both of those individuals, and I'm very grateful to my co-commentator Kev for helping out with this comms.
I'm super excited you were able to make it here, Prof. I thought for a second that I was going to have to do this all by myself, and calling a four-way race here all by yourself is very, very difficult. So really, really cool to have you here. And Glove, Beef, Robert, Messer, Beep. I guess Messer and Beep, we didn't have them in here, but definitely very cool to watch this race. So I had a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, I guess I'll echo that. GG, super excited for Rando League to be here again. You know, last Rando League was so much fun. I feel like I've improved a lot since then. I think my team has as well. Really like this new team and hope we can go places.
Absolutely, and here we are, joined at last by Team Spring Ballin. GG, both of you, GG.
GG's.
GG.
GG.
Heck of a good race, y'all. It was a lot of fun to watch. How did you all feel about the seed?
We both visited Shack Tool. We both got Spring Ball, so our mission was accomplished.
Absolutely.
Yeah, kind of a tough seed there, having the ability to get Varia early at high jump, and turns out neither team found that early Varia, and then the second one buried deep in LN behind Ridley. So that's tough, right? I mean, it looked like Messer, you were trying to load up as much as you could over at the Croc refill once it was clear that you had to go into suitless LN, and you didn't need to do too much of it, having that Varia come pretty quickly. But so I'm just curious, how are y'all feeling, especially with the Varias both being in the same seed? What was the discussion going on between the two of you on that end?
Oh, well, I was absolutely frustrated when I had found out that Varia was at high jump. I was like, really? Right after Kraid, I could have just gone down, nabbed me a quick Varia suit, but I also had to realize that the routing would be completely different in that case.
Yeah. Yeah, we were saying before, it's kind of tough to know how that would have played out, and then, Glove was correctly pointing out that if either team had found that early Varia, it kind of puts you in a weird position. You've got both suits, but I think at that point, Beep didn't have hardly any E-tanks or ammo, and it would have been really, really difficult. I mean, certainly you could have made the upper Norfair checks, maybe a Croc play, but it's not really clear that you would have been even able to go into LN at that point, and so
I think
really
it's
hard
crazy
to say,
that
right?
both teams actually made the same skip right there. Like I was saying after Kraid, like how come nobody's going down to check high jump boots before Meridia? I thought that was crazy, but both teams did it, so it was really interesting how that played out for both teams.
Yeah, I went down to high jump. If only our roles were switched.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I actually told Beefy not to go do that.
The thing was, I think I only had one E-tank at the time and maybe some reserves. It would have been, of course, in hindsight, it was Varia suit. But if it wasn't Varia suit, if it was like anything else, maybe just like even an E-tank, the hell runs would be very difficult at that point. And I'm not confident at all in doing hell runs at that.
I totally understand. And if you just get, a beam or a tank or something, and you're thinking, oh gosh, all right, I guess I just have to go back up this elevator, and I just made this 1 minute check for nothing. So, yeah, I mean that's the way Rando goes sometimes. In this particular one, you got gravity early, and the Varia was a little bit more of a mystery that y'all had to figure out. But GG's on a well run race, I think overall.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I'll leave it to you two, Messer and Beep, if you got any final thoughts on the seed, or otherwise we can take it on out of here and just congratulate all four runners on a great seed, and thanks for the entertainment tonight.
My last word I'll say is be frugal with your super missiles. You never know when you need.
Listen, man, those gates came out of nowhere.
Not one, not two, but 3 gates that you were blocking.
I'm embarrassed.
All right, well, here's the final word from the booth. We have the winning team. I only know how to super jump, taking it over Spring Ballin today, but we've got a lot of Super Metroid Randomizer League action still to come. This is just week 1, so folks, stay tuned for all of the remaining multi-world races this week and the 6 weeks and playoffs to come. So thank you to our racers Glove, Beefrover Messer, and Beep to the Boop. We are so happy that we had a chance to call this race for you. Thank you one more time to our excellent trackers and to our organizers. And if that's all from me, Kev, do you got anything else to send us home with?
Nah, I just had a really great time just watching everything tonight. So thanks everybody for a really great job, and hope to see y'all, as we get further through all of this.
Alrighty, thanks everyone one more time. Thanks to chat for making this a fun one for us. Stay tuned on that schedule for the upcoming races, and we will see you all next mission.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.